A very good morning. It's past 8 this 31st December morning. Remember, the final countdown to the year 2020 has begun. This particular year can be best described as the year of the pandemic or the year where we spent our life in a mask. Well, that's exactly how this particular year has been. We'll discuss a lot about the year gone by, on the big achievements of the year. But before that, let's now take a look at the next 60 minutes on how it's going to pan out. We're going to get you all the latest from the world of politics, business, sports and entertainment. This is your one-stop show for all that matters, where we cut all the noise, get you news as it happens on the ground. I am Anil Thomas. With me this morning, my co-anchor, Nancy Kohli. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning, Anil. How are you doing this morning?
Pretty excited about New Year coming.
Well, we do hope that this new year begins on a fresh and a positive note, and we have lots of good things really to look forward to, and not unlike this present year that we actually all survived, and many struggled to survive, but they weren't so fortunate. We wish everyone a good health, and on that note, let's begin and take a look at the headlines.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi to give New Year gift to Gujarat today to lay the foundation stone of AIIMS Rajkot via video conferencing. People in vicinity to get reasonable and quality health services.
Some progress achieved at the end of 7th round of talks between the farmers and the centre. Consensus arrived on 2 out of 4 issues on the agenda. The next round of talks scheduled on 4th of January on 3 laws and the MSP.
Key cabinet decisions: approves the export of Akash missile system and creates a committee for faster approval of exports. Also gives nod to Krishnapatnam and Tumkuru industrial areas. Approves a modified scheme to enhance ethanol distillation capacity in the country.
Prime Minister Modi reviews projects worth 1 lakh crore rupees pertaining to rail, road transport, urban development during the 34th meeting of PRAGATI. Directs the chief secretaries to solve the pending bottlenecks and timely completion of the projects.
Well, dates of commencement of CBSE Board examinations 2021 to be announced at 6 p.m. today. Union Education Minister says decision is based on suggestions given by students, teachers and parents.
The Income Tax Department has further extended the deadline for income tax filing by 10 days to the 10th of January, and this has been done in view of the challenges faced by taxpayers due to COVID-19.
And cold intensifies due to snowfall in the hills. Cold winter peaks in Delhi-NCR, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan as well as several states due to the fall in mercury levels. Several states in northern India expected to get rain on the 4th and 5th of January. Well, those are the headlines at the top of this hour. Now for the stories in detail, starting with the top story there. What do we have, Nancy?
Let's in fact move on and take a look. While the government is moving towards ensuring tertiary level medical facilities are available to people in all the corners of the nation. And AIIMS is the premier medical name for Indian masses and is the most sought after institution in India. Prime Minister Modi will lay the foundation stone of AIIMS at Rajkot, Gujarat today at 11 this morning via video conferencing. Here's the report.
The central government has been working towards expanding the network of All India Institute of Medical Sciences hospitals throughout the country. This is to ensure that people are able to access state-of-the-art health facilities in their own districts. Prime Minister will lay the foundation stone of a new AIIMS in Rajkot, Gujarat on Thursday morning via video conferencing. Governor of Gujarat, Chief Minister, Union Health Minister and other dignitaries will participate in the program.
माननीय प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब के हाथों से ये जो भूमि पूजन होने वाले हैं, इसके लिए डिस्ट्रिक्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की ओर से पूरी तैयारी है। ये जो प्रोजेक्ट जब फाइनल होगा तब नेशनल लेवल और इंटरनेशनल लेवल का जो मेडिकल फैसिलिटी है यहाँ पे अवेलेबल होने वाले हैं। रिसर्च से लेके मेडिकल एजुकेशन के लेके ट्रीटमेंट हर एक जो मेडिकल सेक्टर का जो भी एस्पेक्ट है एम्स में कवर होने वाले हैं.
For this project, 201 acres of land has been allotted. It will be built at an estimated cost of rupees 1,195 crores and is expected to be completed by mid of 2022. The state-of-the-art 750-bed hospital will also have 30-bed AIIMS block. It will have 125 MBBS seats as well and 60 nursing seats.
ये हमारा सौभाग्य है कि एम्स राजकोट को केंद्र सरकार ने मंजूर किया और उसमें राज्य सरकार इस पर भरपूर सहयोग दे रही है. राज्य सरकार ने इसके लिए लगभग 200 एकड़ का जमीन भी आवंटित किया है और राज्य सरकार हमारे बिल्डिंग प्लान्स को भी तुरंत मंजूरी दे रही है.
All preparations and security arrangements are in place for the program. Special attention is paid to following all COVID-related protocols.
कोविड की परिस्थिति के अंदर बंदोबस्त करने में आ रहा है तो उसकी गाइडलाइंस का फॉलो हो और उसके हिसाब से ही सारे नॉर्म्स फॉलो हों, इसकी हम खास ध्यान रख रहे हैं.
The new AIIMS is a valuable gift for Rajkot and adjoining areas. People will soon be able to access world-class health services near their homes at affordable rates. The building of the new mega hospital will also boost employment in the region. DD India.
And let's now go across to our correspondent Arun Sharma, who is joining us with more updates as far as the foundation stone laying of AIIMS at Rajkot in Gujarat at 11 this morning is concerned. Arun, good morning. This is about, once again, yet another step being taken for making the medical facilities and the, health infrastructure, strengthening the health infrastructure and making medical facilities accessible and available to people there, and of course, strengthening the health facilities across the state of Gujarat.
That first of its kind state-of-the-art medical institute, that's AIIMS, will be given to Rajkot. An idea behind this AIIMS in Rajkot is that to strengthen the tier 2 and tier 3 cities healthcare infrastructure so that a better healthcare facilities can be provided.
Right.
Now with Rajkot, the surrounding cities and districts like Morbi will be getting benefit as far as this healthcare facility is concerned. Now, the focus of the government in last 6 years has been to, increase the healthcare infrastructure on one side. So on the other side, with the schemes like Ayushman Bharat, the focus is also to provide healthcare coverage as well. Recently, we saw that Prime Minister Narendra Modi starting the Ayushman Bharat PMJ Sehat scheme for people of Jammu and Kashmir, whereby all the people of Jammu and Kashmir will be in a position to get the healthcare facility or healthcare coverage primarily. So on one side, increasing the healthcare coverage or insurance for the people. So on the other side, creating or erecting a healthcare infrastructure as well. This will give a major push to the cost-efficient healthcare facility in our country. Second, it will also increase the MBBS seats as well, because we know this fact that recently Dr. Harshvardhan said that they are focusing upon, increasing the MBBS seat to 80,000. So in that context, only these kinds of AIIMS institute will play an important role. Now, 6 years back, you can see that by 2014, there were close to 6 or 7 AIIMS institute in our country. But now this number is in double digit. 22 AIIMS, either operational, sanctioned, or in various phases. So this shows that how government is focusing upon increasing the healthcare facilities and infrastructure in now tier 2 town and tier 3 towns as well. So that people don't have to move from small cities to bigger cities for their healthcare treatment. They get healthcare treatment right in their own cities, be it tier 2 town or tier 3 town. So in that context, the last day of 2020, or you can say that it's a New Year gift to the people of Rajkot or the Rajkotias, what we say. So yes, indeed a big day as far as healthcare sector is concerned for the people of Gujarat.
Arun, considering that this particular AIIMS was, cleared in that phase 6 of, where the finance ministry announced about AIIMS, having said that, when do we see the fruitification of this particular AIIMS coming up? When do we see the AIIMS hospital there in Rajkot coming up? And were there any other districts in the race, other than Rajkot there when it comes to getting the AIIMS institute, or it was only one city that was very clearly in the race?
Well, so as far as the dates are concerned, by 2022, we can expect the Rajkot AIIMS to be a reality. Today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi laying the foundation stone as far as the AIIMS Institute is concerned, and by 2022, that means by next to next year, in a sense, it will be operational. So the focus of the government is to open the AIIMS Institute in tier 2, tier 3 town as well. The last AIIMS institute we saw was in Devghar. Now this AIIMS institute that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to lay the foundation stone is in Rajkot. Rajkot is very important and prominent city because we know this fact that as far as telemedicine in our country is concerned, as far as international medical facilities are concerned, it is very, very important to develop a tier 1 and tier 2 town as well as far as big medical institutes. Now there are big, what government is focusing upon as of now, Anil, that wherever there are better healthcare facilities available, either as a form of government hospitals or as a semi-government hospitals, over there the focus was not there. But wherever there was no healthcare facilities, a better healthcare facility was not involved, and wherever the connectivity was available in places whereby much of a footfall, or whereby the which is a main hub or the connecting area as far as any hub is concerned, over there these AIIMS institutes are being sanctioned so that the surrounding cities can also get benefit of it. As I mentioned earlier, as far as South Gujarat is concerned, the southern part is concerned, or you can say that specifically the entire Gujarat only, because Rajkot is a hub as far as the central connectivity is concerned. Small districts like Morbi, which is only 50 kilometers apart from Rajkot, will be getting a bigger access and better healthcare facilities as well as far as Rajkot is concerned. So that's the focus of the government, to provide healthcare facilities now from the big cities or to tier 2 and tier 3 towns, so that a better healthcare infrastructure can be erected for the people of the country.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you and appreciate you joining us, Arun, this morning with your updates there on the Prime Minister's foundation laying stone of AIIMS in Rajkot.
Absolutely. And let's move on now to our next big focus, and that's about the union government holding 7th round of talks with the protesting farmers' unions in New Delhi. The Agriculture Secretary Sanjay Agrawal had sent out a letter to the farm leaders on Monday, responding to an email by the farm unions on 26 December in which they had agreed to restart the negotiations after rejecting the government's appeal to resume the dialogue process several times. A delegation of 40 leaders who represent the Samyukt Kisan Morcha, that's a platform of over 500 farm organizations involved in the month-long agitation, discussed a set of farm reforms initiated by the government. Here's a detailed report.
The farmers' protest is continuing, with them demanding the repeal of 3 new agricultural reform laws. Another round of talks between the government and farmers took place on Wednesday to discuss the demand of the farmers. Representatives of 40 farmer organizations reached Vigyan Bhavan at 2 p.m, where Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar, Commerce and Railways Minister Piyush Goyal, Union Minister of State for Commerce Som Prakash and officials of Agriculture Department were present on behalf of the government. After the conclusion of talks, Union Minister for Agriculture Narendra Singh Tomar said that talks were held in a very good environment and concluded on a positive note. He said that consensus on 2 out of 4 issues was reached between the two sides. Agreement was reached on ordinance related to burning of farm stubble and on the proposed Electricity Amendment Bill 2020. The remaining issues will be discussed in the next round of talks on 4th of January.
जो 4 विषय चर्चा के लिए रखे थे, उनमें 2 विषयों पर आपसी रजामंदी सरकार और यूनियन के बीच में हो गई है। पहला जो एनवायरनमेंट से संबंधित ऑर्डिनेंस है, उसमें फराली और किसान सम्मिलित हैं। उनकी शंका थी कि किसान को इसमें नहीं होना चाहिए। सरकार ने कहा है कि हम आपकी चिंता से वाकिफ़ हैं और इस मामले में दोनों पक्षों में रजामंदी हो गई है। दूसरा, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एक्ट, किसानों की सिंचाई के लिए जो विद्युत की सब्सिडी दी जाती है, वो राज्य जिस प्रकार से पहले से देते रहे हैं वैसी ही चलनी चाहिए, ऐसी यूनियंस की मांग थी। उस मांग पर भी यूनियन और सरकार के बीच में रजामंदी हो गई है। मैंने आज फिर पुनः सरकार की ओर से मानवीय दृष्टिकोण को सामने रखकर यह अनुरोध किया है कि सर्दी का सीजन है, इसलिए यूनियंस के लीडर को चाहिए कि जो बहुत बुजुर्ग लोग हैं, महिलाएं, बच्चे हैं, उनको घर जाने के लिए वो आग्रह करें। यह आग्रह भी मैंने उन्हें किया है। अब आगे की जो बैठक 4 तारीख को होगी उसमें अगले विषय पर चर्चा रहेगी।
The farmers have also lauded the centre's stand and are hopeful that further talks will be positive.
जो बिजली वाला कानून था वो वापसी ले रहे हैं सरकार। वो जैसे पहले थी ऐसे ही रहेगा।
उनसे 2 मुद्दों पर कमेटी की बात हुई है।
कमेटी की बात नहीं अभी हुई। 4 तारीख में फिर मीटिंग होगी। एक तो जो 3 बिल हैं उन पे और एमएसपी पे 2 चीज रहेगी है। 2 चीज पे ही बातचीत होगी 4 तारीख में।
बिजली सोध बिल ते पराली वाला कानून दोनों सरकार ने वापस ले ले ते बाकी दे जेडे 3 कानून जिन्हां दा झगड़ा है MSP ਦਾ ਮਸਲਾ ਇਹਦੇ ਤੇ 4 ਤਾਰੀਖ ਨੂੰ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ ਹੋਏਗੀ।
During the talks at Vigyan Bhavan, the ministers had langar with the farmers. Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar and Railways Minister Piyush Goyal were seen standing in the line waiting for their turn as the food was served. The government says that it is committed to resolve issues rationally and with an open mind. Based on details sent by the farmers about their apprehensions regarding the 3 laws, detailed discussion on the issues like procurement arrangements of minimum support price as well as the ordinance for air quality management in the National Capital Region and surrounding areas as well as the Electricity Amendment Bill 2020 were held. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh gave a befitting reply to Rahul Gandhi's criticism of the government. Rajnath Singh said that he himself was born in a farmer family and knows more about farming than Rahul Gandhi. He clearly said that farmers will benefit from the new agricultural laws.
राहुल जी आयु में तो मुझसे छोटे हैं, लेकिन कृषि के बारे में उनसे मैं ज़्यादा जानता हूँ क्योंकि किसान माँ की कोख से ही पैदा हुआ हूँ। हम किसान के प्रति हृदय की गहराइयों से सम्मान व्यक्त करते हैं और हर समय भारत के किसानों के प्रति हमारा सिर झुका हुआ है उनके सम्मान में। वो हमारे अन्नदाता हैं और जब भी आर्थिक संकट का दौर इस देश में आया है तो देश की अर्थव्यवस्था को संभालने का काम यदि किसी ने किया है तो इस देश के किसानों ने किया है। हमारे देश की अर्थव्यवस्था की ताकत है हमारा किसान। कृषि यह रीढ़ है।
All the ministers of the central government and Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself have repeatedly said that agricultural reform laws are for the welfare of farmers and they will benefit from it. The entire government, including the Prime Minister, has made it clear that the government is ready to address the farmers' concerns. Meanwhile, the farmers' movement continues on the borders of Delhi. Due to their blockade, people are also facing huge problems. Several rounds of talks have been held between the government and the farmers, and the ball is now in the farmers' court. DD India.
Well, the Union Cabinet chaired by Prime Minister on Wednesday approved Industrial Corridor North at Krishnapatnam and Tumkuru under CBIC. Multimodal Logistic Hub and Multimodal Transport Hub MMTH at Greater Noida have also been approved. These projects have been planned on the backbone of multimodal connectivity infrastructure. The Cabinet also approved the export of Akash missile system and a committee for faster approvals has been created. Here's a detailed report on the decisions taken by the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs.
The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs has approved proposals of Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade for construction of various trunk infrastructure components. These are for Krishnapatnam Industrial Area in Andhra Pradesh with an estimated cost of 2,139.44 crore rupees. Tumkuru Industrial Area in Karnataka with an estimated cost of 1,701.81 crore rupees. Multimodal Logistics Hub and Multimodal Transport Hub at Greater Noida in Uttar Pradesh with an estimated cost of 3,883.80 crore rupees.
जहां माल ढुलाई होगी उस कॉरिडोर के साथ जहां एक्सप्रेसवेज है, जहां बंदरगाह है, जहां रेलवे की बड़ी सुविधा है और जहां एयरपोर्ट भी है, ऐसे जगह औद्योगिक शहरों का और क्षेत्रों का विकास करने का एक महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय कैबिनेट इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स ने लिया है। तो 7,725 करोड़ के लागत से और जिससे लगभग 3 लाख रोजगार पैदा होंगे।
The imperative need to enhance ethanol distillation capacity for producing first generation ethanol from feedstocks such as cereals including rice, wheat, barley, corn, sugarcane and beetroot, etc., has also got the centre's attention. Government has decided to bring a modified scheme for extending interest subvention to augment ethanol production capacity.
40,000 करोड़ रुपए की नया निवेश होने से हमारी कैपेसिटी को लगभग 1750 करोड़ लीटर तक ले लिया जाएगा। सरकार ने 8,460 करोड़ रुपया की इंटरेस्ट सबवेंशन स्कीम की जिम्मेवारी लिया है, जिसमें से ऑलरेडी 4,687 करोड़ रुपया ऑलरेडी अप्रूव पिछले दिनों में कर लिया गया था। आज 4,573 रुपया की 4,573 करोड़ रुपीज की आज सैंक्शन माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की नेतृत्व में जो आज कैबिनेट बैठी उसने उनको सैंक्शन किया।
The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs has also approved project deepening and optimization of inner harbour facilities, including development of Western Dock on build, operate and transfer basis under PPP mode to handle Cape-sized vessels at Paradip Port. The estimated cost of project is 3,004.63 crore rupees.
25 मिलियन मेट्रिक टन कार्गो के क्षमता वाला है, 18 मीटर ड्राफ्ट वाला एक डॉक बनाने जा रहे हैं। 3,000 करोड़ खर्च से बनने वाले इस डॉक में केप वेसल्स आ पाएगी। डॉक बनेगा तो उसका बहुत बड़ा फायदा है। मोदी जी के ये विचारों को उससे चरितार्थ होना है कि ईस्टर्न कोस्ट, ईस्टर्न पार्ट मतलब पारादीप ये पूर्वोदय का द्वीप बनेगा।
The Cabinet also approved export of Akash missile system and has created a committee for faster approval of exports. Akash is a surface-to-air missiles developed by the DRDO with a range of 25 kilometers. The missile was inducted in the Indian Air Force in 2014 and in the Indian Army in 2015. Interest was shown in Akash missile by many friendly countries during international exhibitions, defense expos, etc. The Cabinet approval will facilitate Indian manufacturers to participate in RFI, RFP issued by various countries. With inputs from Rishi Kumar, DD India.
Prime Minister Modi chaired the 34th interaction of PRAGATI, and where of course he interacted and reviewed the projects. Various projects were reviewed during various projects, programs and grievances were reviewed during that interaction, and the projects of the Ministry of Railways, the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways and Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs were discussed. These projects, with a total cost of about 1 lakh crore rupees, pertain to 10 states and union territories including Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Jammu and Kashmir, West Bengal, Maharashtra, Delhi, Haryana, Gujarat and Dadra and Nagar Haveli. During the interaction, the programs Ayushman Bharat and Jal Jeevan Mission were also reviewed. Also, the grievances related to the Ministry of Consumer Affairs were also taken up. Prime Minister Modi directed all the officials to ensure and expedite comprehensive resolution of the grievances. And for the projects being reviewed, the Prime Minister asked the Chief Secretaries to ensure early resolution of the pending issues and target completion by the due date. He said that all the states should strive for 100% enrollment in Ayushman Bharat at the earliest. He also encouraged states and the union territories to draw a roadmap for achieving the targets in mission mode under the Jal Jeevan Mission.
Well, moving on, Union Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank will announce the dates of commencement of the CBSE Board examinations 2021 at 6 p.m. today. Earlier, during a virtual interaction with teachers, the minister informed that CBSE is making necessary preparations for conducting the 2021 board examinations after taking into consideration the suggestions given by students, teachers and parents on the same.
शिक्षा संवाद हमारा चलता है लगातार। उसके बाद जो उनके सुझाव मिले हैं और जो हमको भविष्य में क्या परिस्थितियां हैं ये करके अभी हम नए वर्ष की पूर्व संध्या पर हम इसको बता रहे हैं। वो तिथियों को भी सुनिश्चित करेंगे और उनकी जो भ्रम की स्थिति बनी हुई है उसको भी खत्म कर देंगे। कोशिश करेंगे कि उनको आगे की तिथियां घोषित कर सकें कि जब वो परीक्षाओं को देना है।
And let's now move on, take a look at the COVID-19 situation across various states in the country. While Kerala has reported maximum number of new cases yesterday, 6,268 positive cases were reported as of yesterday. Besides that, 5,707 patients were discharged, while 28 patients died in the past 24 hours. Now in Maharashtra, 3,537 new cases were registered yesterday. 4,913 patients were discharged, while 70 patients lost their lives in the past 24 hours. Currently, there are 53,066 active cases in the state. In a sign that Tamil Nadu is gaining ground in its fight with COVID-19, the daily case tally remained below the 1,000 mark for the second day in a row. A total of 945 persons tested positive for the virus across the state yesterday, and 17 deaths were reported, while 1,060 patients were discharged in the past 24 hours. Now in the national capital, Delhi, 677 new cases of infections were reported yesterday, and 940 patients were cured and discharged, while 21 patients died in the past 24 hours. Currently, there are 5,838 active cases in Delhi.
Well, in a big push to immunization drive against COVID-19, UK has given emergency use license to Covishield vaccine developed by Oxford AstraZeneca and produced by Serum Institute of India in Pune. The biggest producer is Serum Institute of India in Pune, which has already procured about 50 million doses. This development has further pushed chances of early and mass rollout of vaccines in India.
At least 20 people in India have been detected suffering from the new UK strain of the virus, which according to experts has more transmissibility. The new strain were detected from reports of 107 samples. Taking serious cognizance of the reports of the mutant variant of SARS-CoV-2 virus, government has put in place a very proactive and preventive strategy to detect and contain the mutant variant. The Ministry of Health has also set up an Indian SARS-CoV-2 genome consortium to conduct labs and epidemiological surveillance. Earlier on Tuesday, 6 passengers who travelled from Britain to India were found carriers of new strain who have been quarantined now. From 6, cases have jumped to 20 now. Out of 20 cases detected, 8 have been detected from Delhi's NCDC and 7 cases from Nimhans. In order to stay ahead on level of preparedness to deal with mutant variant, various labs across the country have undertaken the exercise of conducting at least 5,000 genome sequencing. Experts are of the view that the new strain spreads a little faster but is not having a greater severity. Most importantly, experts believe corona vaccines in place are capable of dealing with the new variant as well. As a precautionary measure, government has taken some firm and new steps. The ban on all incoming and outgoing flights to Britain has been extended till January 7, 2021. Passengers on international flights with travel history from 9 to December 22nd have to undergo corona testing, tracing and tracking. Those found positive, their samples will be sent for genome sequencing. Apart from this, samples of 5% of those corona infected will be sent for genome sequencing. Meanwhile, Britain has become the first country to approve the COVID-19 vaccine developed by Oxford University and AstraZeneca as it battles a major winter surge driven by a new highly contagious variant of the virus. British Health Minister Matt Hancock has said that the approval of the vaccine developed by Oxford University and AstraZeneca will enable Britain to protect more people more quickly in the coming 3 months. The approval is vindication for a vaccine seen as essential for mass immunizations in the developing world as well as in Britain.
The Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, the licensing authority, has now, on the basis of the advice of its scientific body, the Commission on Human Medicines, approved the COVID-19 vaccine developed by AstraZeneca and Oxford University here in the UK, together with the conditions for its supply and use. This vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine AstraZeneca, has been approved for use in people aged 18 years and older with 2 standard doses, 4 to 12 weeks apart. As I've said before, and I will say again today, the safety of the public always comes first.
Britain has already ordered 100 million doses of the vaccine, and the government said it had accepted the recommendation from the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency to grant emergency authorization. The approval is a vindication for a vaccine seen as essential for mass immunizations in the developing world as well as in Britain. The Oxford vaccine has the added advantage that it can be stored in the normal refrigerators and does not require specific low temperatures, as is essential for Pfizer's vaccine. Daily recoveries have outnumbered the daily new cases since last 33 days successively. In the last 24 hours in India, 20,549 persons were found to be COVID positive in the country. During the same period, 26,572 new recoveries were registered, ensuring drop in the active caseload. India's cumulative recoveries stand at 98,34,141 on Wednesday. The recovery rate has also reached 95.99%. The gap between the recoveries and the active cases is consistently widening. India's total active caseload stands at 2,62,272, which consists of just 2.56% of India's total positive cases. When compared globally, India's cases per million population at 7,423 are amongst the lowest in the world. Countries such as Russia, Italy, UK, Brazil, France and USA have much higher cases per million population. Did India?
Well, the subject expert committee in the Central Drug Standard Control Organization, that CDSCO, met on Wednesday to consider the emergency use authorization request of Pfizer, Serum Institute of India and Bharat Biotech Private Limited. Further time was requested on behalf of Pfizer. The additional data and information presented by Serum Institute of India and Bharat Biotech Private Limited were first rushed and analyzed by the SEC. The analysis of the additional data and information is going on. SEC will convene again on Friday to further deliberate on the matter.
Now, the Income Tax Department has further extended the deadline for income tax filing by 10 days to the 10th of January, and this has been done in the view of the challenges faced by the taxpayers in meeting the statutory and the regulatory compliances due to the outbreak of COVID-19. The first deadline for filing the ITR was 31st July, that was extended to 30th November, which for the second time got extended to 30th December. Now, this is the third extension this year. However, this is for taxpayers without requiring an audit. For others, there have also been separate extensions. The deadline for furnishing ITR details for taxpayers who are required to get their accounts audited has been extended to 15th of February. The taxpayers who are required to furnish report in respect of international or specified domestic transaction will now have to file their ITRs by 15th February. The date for furnishing of various audit reports under the Act, including tax audit report and report in respect of international or specified domestic transaction for the assessment year 2020-21 has been extended to 15th of January. The last date for making a declaration under Vivad Se Vishwas scheme has also been extended to 31st of January from 21st December. Now, to provide relief to small and the middle class taxpayers in the matter of payment of self-assessment tax, the due date for the payment of self-assessment tax has also been extended. For those whose self-assessment tax liability is up to 1 lakh rupees, the deadline has been extended to 15th February next year.
Well, the Central Bureau of Investigations at CBI has registered a case against a private company based at Hyderabad and others on a complaint from the State Bank of India, Hyderabad. Case has been registered against the company's managing director, joint managing director and unknown public servants and others. It is alleged that the accused in connivance with the unknown public servants and others defrauded the consortium of public sector banks and caused a loss of approximately 4,837 crores to the banks. It is further alleged that the borrower company, represented by its directors, had availed various credit limits from a consortium of banks led by State Bank of India and cheated the banks without repaying the loan amount. Searches were conducted on Wednesday at the residential and official premises of the accused at Hyderabad, which led to a recovery of several incriminating documents.
And moving on now to weather inputs. Well, the snowfall in the hills has led to cold wave intensifying in several areas of North India, and Delhi continues to be enveloped in fog this morning, and the situation was compounded due to blowing cold winds. The temperature recorded at 5:30 this morning over Delhi was 6.8 degrees Celsius in Palam and 7.2 degrees Celsius in Safdarjung. The temperature is likely to show further rising tendency from 2nd January onwards, providing relief from the cold wave conditions.
Well, severe cold wave conditions will prevail in northern parts of the country, including Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh and Delhi. Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan and West Madhya Pradesh will also be affected during the next 2 days. States like Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi and West Uttar Pradesh will witness dense to very dense fog during the next 48 hours. Foggy weather will also prevail in isolated pockets over Uttarakhand, East Uttar Pradesh, Assam and Meghalaya, along with Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram and Tripura during the next 48 hours. Well, for more on the story, Tapas joining us this morning. Tapas, how cold is our new year going to be, considering all the reports that we are reading?
People know about that because the prediction by the Met Department is expected that the cold wave condition will prevail over the northwestern India because of the northwestern events that is coming from the Himalayan region. So you expect the cold waves to continue for the next 2 days, and hence people who are thinking about partying in the New Year night, they have to brace up for that. And also the fact that today's temperature in the national capital at the Safdarjung Observatory has been measured at around 5:30 a.m. 7.2 degrees Celsius, and it is expected that there will be the minimum temperature which comes at around 8:30 or after 8:30. Okay. They collate the information. We will find out the minimum temperature. But it is expected that that temperature is also expected to go further. Yesterday it was 3.5. It is expected to be hover around the same area. With the it is expected also that the dense fog is also expected to be continue, especially in the Delhi-NCR region, and hence traveling in the early morning as well as in the evening will be an issue for a lot of commuters. Now, the important part is that IMD expects that the situation, in fact, we've been told in the morning that the situation will improve from 2nd of January. So there is a tendency of the weather improving, the temperature rising in a way from 2nd of January. The other important part is that it is expected that light to moderate rainfall at isolated places will take place with a thunderstorm and lightning in Himalayan region as well as in the northwest India. So expect the situation, the fog to decrease after that, because the rain will come into force, but the cold condition will prevail till 2nd of January as far as IMD is concerned. They believe that from 2nd of January it will improve, and the people will be getting respite from the
right. Well, we do hope that Right, Tapas, we do hope that, of course, the cold wave conditions abate, and some relief is really in sight as far as cold wave conditions are concerned.
Well, also, we need to tell people in Delhi that, there are restrictions in place, and the Delhi Metro is already organized that the Delhi Metro is already told that, the Rajiv Chowk metro station will be shut after 9 p.m, which means officials have said that people coming to Connaught Place need to plan in advance, and the restrictions are very much in place. They have said that you need to avoid the Rajiv Gandhi, at least the Rajiv Rajiv Chowk metro station especially will be shut after 9 p.m. tonight. So you need to be planning very much in advance, but I would advise you to stay at home and celebrate with your loved ones over all those online devices. You need to chat up with your closed ones. Well, moving on, India has entered the club of countries who have the technology to achieve the generation of random numbers based on the quantum phenomenon. The Defense Research and Development Organization, that's DRDO's Young Scientist Laboratory for Quantum Technologies, has developed a quantum random number generator which can detect random quantum events and convert those into a stream of binary digits. The laboratory has developed a fiber optic branch path. The branch path based QRNG is based on the principle that if a single photon is incident on a balanced beam splitter, it will take either of the beam splitter output paths randomly. As the path chosen by photon is random, the randomness is translated to sequence of bits. QRNG system developed by the laboratory has passed the Global Randomness Testing Standards (NIST) and die-harder statistical test suits at a speed of 150 kbps after post-processing. The generated random numbers are also evaluated and verified using DRDO's indigenously developed randomness testing statistical test suite of the SAG. With this development, India enters the club of countries who have the technology to achieve the generation of random numbers based on the quantum phenomenon.
And with that, let's now move on to our next segment and get you all the news from around the world in our segment Across the Globe. And first up, taking a look at all the updates on COVID-19 from across the world. As of now, more than 8 crore 30 lakh COVID-19 cases have been reported worldwide, with over 18 lakh 12,000 deaths. Over 5 crore 88 lakh people have recovered from the virus, though the US continues to remain the worst hit country by the pandemic so far, with the highest number of infections. The US has recorded over 2 crore 2 lakh cases of the virus, with the death toll surging past 3 lakh 50,000. And Brazil follows US in terms of death toll with 1 lakh 93,000 deaths.
Well, the head of the World Health Organization (WHO), marking a year since the first case of the novel coronavirus was reported by China, urged countries on Wednesday to ensure that vaccines are made available to people at risk everywhere, not just in rich nations. WHO Director General has appealed for $4 billion to buy COVID-19 vaccines for distribution in lower and middle-income countries through the COVAX vaccine facility. The World Health Organization chief said that vaccines offer great hope to turn the tide of the pandemic and to protect the world. It must be ensured that all the people at risk everywhere, not just in countries who can afford vaccines, are immunized. The COVAX Alliance, which aims to secure fair access to COVID-19 vaccines for poor countries, has said that it has had agreements in place for nearly 2 billion doses, roughly doubling its supply, with the first deliveries due in early 2021.
Now in the US, in California, the health officials have identified the state's first case of a new and more infectious strain of COVID-19 that was initially discovered in the UK. Now, according to health officials, the patient is a 30-year-old man in San Diego County who began showing symptoms from Sunday. Colorado health officials said on Wednesday they were investigating a potential second case of a new and potentially more infectious strain of COVID-19. On Tuesday, Colorado health officials confirmed the US's first case of the COVID-19 variant, and according to officials, the infected individual does not have a travel history and is in isolation with mild symptoms. The confirmed case as well as the second patient are both the members of the Colorado National Guard. The state officials believe that there are other cases in the county with the new strain. San Diego County Supervisor Nathan Fletcher has urged residents to follow the public health orders over the next few days to prevent further stress on the county's hospitals, seeing strain from an onslaught of COVID-19 patients. The US, which has been the worst hit country by the pandemic, has over 2 crore 1 lakh cases of COVID-19 and more than 3 lakh 50,000 deaths.
Well, Britain has become the first country to give the go-ahead to a COVID-19 vaccine developed by Oxford University and AstraZeneca. The country has ordered 100 million doses of the vaccine. As per Britain's Medicines and Healthcare Regulatory Authority, the success rate of the inoculation of 2 doses of the vaccine in interval of 3 months is 80%. The government plans to take advantage by giving the first dose to a larger number of people most at risk from COVID-19 before starting to administer the boosters. United Kingdom's government has already approved and rolled out Pfizer and BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine amid the swelling up of cases of the new mutated variant of COVID-19 in the United Kingdom. So far in the country, the tally of cases of the disease in the country stands above 24,32,000, while the death toll is more than 72,000.
And meanwhile, thrashed by the rapidly spreading mutated variant of COVID-19 cases, Britain has once again imposed stricter restrictions to tackle the surge. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has urged people to stay at home. The government has said that secondary schools would delay and stagger their reopening to enable testing to be implemented, while some primary schools in the worsted areas will not open to all the pupils. London and its surrounding areas are already under Tier 4 lockdown since 19 December, while Scotland and Northern Ireland are also crippled into restrictions.
Well, according to the National Health Commission of mainland China, reported 24 new confirmed COVID-19 cases, including 7 locally transmitted cases and 17 arriving from outside the mainland. 5 of the locally transmitted cases were reported in northeast China's Liaoning province and 1 each in Beijing and Heilongjiang province. Beijing has reported more than 20 locally transmitted cases in the last 2 weeks. Meanwhile, the city has tightened COVID-19 prevention measures for public transport to avoid overcrowding. 17 new asymptomatic cases were also reported on Tuesday, 10 of whom arrived from outside mainland China. By the end of Tuesday, a total of 4,247 imported cases have been reported on the mainland. The total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases on the mainland reached 82,027 on Tuesday, including 356 patients still receiving treatment.
Now, British lawmakers voted to back the UK's post-Brexit trade deal with European Union yesterday on the eve of 31st December. That is the deadline marking the end of the transition period. The bill was passed comfortably 521 to 73 following accelerated sittings in both the Houses of Parliament. The deal finalised last week marks a significant milestone more than 4 years after the UK voted to leave European Union and after months of fraught negotiations. Opening the debate on Wednesday, Prime Minister Boris Johnson told the members of Parliament that the deal will open a new chapter in our national story and allow the UK to take control of our laws and our national destiny. The government bill is now expected to pass to the House of Lords, Parliament's upper house. If passed, it is anticipated to receive the royal assent. The agreement has already received provisional approval from European Union, with both the European Commission President and the European Council President as well formally signing off on the trade deal on Wednesday.
Well, after a look at all the stories from around the globe, it's time now to shift focus and take a look at some of the stories that are trending on social media and also on the websites in our segment, Web News Review.
All right, and let's go across now to our colleague Rukma, who will be joining us and sharing with us all that's making it to the World Wide Web this morning. Good morning, Rukma. Just take us through what you have for our viewers this morning.
A very good morning to you, Nancy, and good morning to you, Anil, as well. Well, as we are on the 31st of December, it appears that there's a sense of positivity in the air and on the World Wide Web as well. Even as well, it's all trending about the positive route that the farmer talks have taken, the farmer talks that the government have taken, also the process of vaccination as it's going on and rolling out across countries and across India as well, as far as dry runs are concerned initially. I have selected as my first story a report on the Hindustan Times which says that Wuhan's COVID-19 cases may have been 10 times higher than estimated. And it talks about a study published by Chinese authorities. China, as we know, has come in for a lot of criticism because of its initial handling of the virus. This report suggests that there was a serological survey recently that revealed that there were more antibodies in much more a bigger chunk of the population of Wuhan than were known to have suffered the virus, and goes on to give us more details about how this was revealed. Next, on the final day of this year, which was dominated by the pandemic, I decided to spare a thought for one particular COVID warrior, a 37-year-old lawyer who was jailed in China for publishing COVID-19 stories that China wanted to hide. And since February, when the virus spread across the world and it became a full-blown pandemic, she was tweeting stories, eyewitness accounts, photographs, till she was finally jailed. And very brave, because this is, remember, she was doing it in a country where even normal stories, it is perilous to publish them unless they are sanctioned by authorities. Coming back to India, news back home, well, the Financial Express talks about how the CBI has booked Hyderabad-based infra firm IVRCL and its MD for alleged bank fraud of nearly 5,000 crore rupees. Meanwhile, there's a buoyancy in the markets. Markets ended yesterday after initial day's lows. It ended 388 points higher. And this winning streak in the market has continued for quite some time now. The Nifty to stabilize yesterday at around at nearly 14,000, 13,982 in fact, to be exact. Other miscellaneous news that I picked out, there's Zhong Shanshan, who has dethroned Ambani as Asia's richest. And he's a Chinese businessman, 66 years old. He's known as a lone wolf because he is one businessman who has no connection with politics. He's dabbled in various things, in journalism, he's dabbled in mushroom farming, and now in healthcare. He's overtaken even Jack Ma of China, and also he's in the same league as people like Bezos, it appears. And well, also back home, there's disquiet in Punjab. This is the news that has been trending over the past few days about the vandalism that cell towers in Punjab have undergone as a result of the protests. And now there is, after Jio in particular raised objection to the disruption in services, to the disruption in being able to provide services, Punjab CM Amarinder Singh also put out a very stern warning. It says here there's disquiet in Punjab government over cell tower vandalism. Police seek to control the damage. And finally, well, a small miscellaneous news is about how China, a small piece of news about how China wants to control religious institutions in Tibet, and it wants to do this through the puppet Panchen Lama. It says it's aiming to do this, and it shows that there's going to be a power struggle in the future as China aims to do this, mainly through the Panchen Lama, whom it has set up after the demise, it appears, of the 14th Dalai Lama. And finally, news from the stars. What's a cold moon, says this website. What to know about 2020's final full moon. It says that the Christmas star was not the only phenomenon in the skies for this year. There's a full moon that we all must watch, and that will perhaps tonight is the last night of that full moon. And also news about how NASA has approved 2 missions to explore the sun and the Earth's aurora. So I decided to end with these stories. That's all in this edition of the Web Review. It's back to you, Anil and Nancy.
Well, thank you, Rukma, for the updates there, and wishing you Happy New Year in advance there. Well, moving on to our next segment, that's sports. Well, Rohit Sharma, reunited with the Indian squad in Melbourne after his 14-day quarantine in Sydney, came to an end on Wednesday. Rohit was given a warm welcome by members of the Indian contingent, who were already in a buoyant mood, having beaten Australia in the Boxing Day test on Tuesday. Rohit flew back to India from the UAE after leading Mumbai to their 5th Indian Premier League trophy. After completing his rehabilitation at the National Cricket Academy in Bangalore following a hamstring injury, Rohit flew into Australia earlier in the month but had to quarantine himself for 14 days. India head coach Ravi Shastri had earlier said that a call will be taken on Rohit Sharma after assessing his fitness. The third test match begins on January 7th at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
And in the English Premier League, a match between Newcastle United and Liverpool ended in a draw yesterday. However, even after a draw, Liverpool remains at the top on the points table, while second place is being held by Man U, whereas Newcastle team has 19 points from 15 matches and they stand at 14th position on the points table.
Well, time now to take a jog down memory lane and take a look at all the events that took place on this very day, 31st of December.
It was on this day in 1925 that noted Hindi writer Srilal Shukla was born in Atrauli village of Lucknow. He worked as a PCS officer for the state government of Uttar Pradesh, later inducted into the IAS. He was honoured with the Sahitya Akademi Award for the novel Rag Darbari and Gyanpith Award. He was awarded with Padma Bhushan in 2008. It was on this day in 1943 Ben Kingsley, an English actor best known for his starring role as Mahatma Gandhi in the 1982 film Gandhi, for which he won the Academy Award for Best Actor, was born in Yorkshire, England. It was on this day in 1988 that India and Pakistan signed a bilateral agreement that bars them from attacking each other's atomic facilities. The agreement entered into force on January 27, 1991. It was on this day in 1999 that the United States officially handed over control of the Panama Canal to Panama.
And let's now move on, take a look at the weather conditions for today. Now, under the influence of a trough in the lower level easterlies, isolated rain or thundershowers are likely over plains of northwest India and adjoining West Madhya Pradesh during tomorrow and day after. A fresh active western disturbance likely to affect western Himalayan region and adjoining plains from 3rd of January onwards. It is also likely to cause light or moderate scatter to fairly widespread rainfall or snowfall over western Himalayan region during 3rd to 5th of January. Now, under the influence of the interaction between the above western disturbance and the lower level easterlies, scattered to fairly widespread rainfall accompanied with thunderstorm or hailstorm at isolated places likely over Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh and Delhi and North Rajasthan. And let's now move on, take a look at the temperature in your city for today.
Well, this is for the final time that we're going to meet, at least in this year, on Breakfast News. So I'm leaving you with a thought that one should keep in mind as you head into the year 2021, that hope is the only thing stronger than fear. Remember, this new year is going to be very different. Let's hope that things change. Let it bring more love, happiness, joy, and let it bring more smiles on each and everyone's faces. On that hope, I'm going to say goodbye. And as I step out, I'm going to wear my mask as we head out of the studios.
Absolutely, it's a special campaign that we are running for you. It's a simple task, just wear your mask, and like Anil also mentioned, yes, we'll be meeting you tomorrow, bringing in the new year with a lot of great hopes, positivity, love and happiness for everyone. Wish you a great day ahead. Thanks for being with us and take very good care of yourself.